2021 is almost over. 2022 is on its way, which means now is the perfect time for me to talk about my top 10 favorite movies of 2021 of this year. Now, let me just tell you before I start this video, surprisingly this year, I know a lot of people have said that this was not a good year for movies. There were a lot of movies I really liked, and I had a hard time actually making this list down to just 10. So, if you don't see some movies here in the list, doesn't mean I didn't like it. That just means it didn't make it to the top 10, because believe me, there are a lot of movies on this list that I absolutely loved, but they just weren't as good as these 10. So without any other further ado, let's get to it. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm new here on YouTube, so please consider supporting me and my channel by subscribing, leaving a like and a comment down below in this video. We're about to talk about the top 10 favorite movies for me, subjectively, just my opinion, of 2021. If there's a movie in this list that you're like, yeah, I agree it's good, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know. If there's a movie missing, let's talk about it. But as for right now, let's get to the ranking. Coming in 10th place is the first movie I reviewed on this channel, West Side Story, directed by Steven Spielberg. This movie is a remake of the original 60s one, and to be honest, in my opinion, a better version of it. Now, when I saw the original West Side Story, don't get me wrong, I liked it when I initially saw it. But I did look at it and say, there's flaws with this movie, and I wish this had been done better. And I was like, this could have been done better. Like in the original one, I didn't feel any real conflict between the gangs. It felt a little too choreographed, dance, ballet-ish, stage-esque, I guess the word is. And some of the performances were lacking. There were some things I didn't like about it, but I still liked it, and I still do like the original West Side Story. But this 2021 version of West Side Story, I feel like perfected everything. This, in my opinion, is a flawless movie. It took what originally existed and it improved on it and made it something even better. Characterization was so much better in this movie. Just Spielberg put in those little details he does in all his movies where he throws in just little things that make the movie even better. Everything looks better, the cinematography. If you want to know my full thoughts, you can go watch my review. But basically, I think this movie took everything and gave us something that we needed, which was just a fresh look at an old story and something new and different in 2021 as a film, and they did it flawlessly. Coming in 9th place is No Time to Die. Now, this movie is a movie that I first saw the trailer of way back, I think 1 or 2 years ago when the initial trailer came out. I remember calling my sister and being like, hey, did you see the new James Bond trailer? She's like, no, I didn't see it. I was like, oh, you have to go see it. And then we had the whole internet buzz thing where everyone was like, oh, James Bond's a black woman now. And it was like, that all had to kind of just subside a little bit. And then we had COVID-19, which delayed it even more. And there were rumors that there were reshoots going on. And just things piled up and up and up. And it almost felt like the movie was never going to come out, because it kept being delayed. And finally it came out. And I got to see this movie in a theater with my friends with a packed audience. And let me tell you, that is one of my favorite movie-going experiences of my life. This movie was a perfect conclusion to wrap up the Daniel Craig, James Bond era. I loved how it tied everything up. I did have some flaws with it, mainly with the villain Statham. Thought he was a little on the weak end. Some of the plot, there were some holes in it, and I was like, But still, this movie was such a great ride. It was exactly what I wanted, exactly what I needed, subverted my expectations, and gave me things that I didn't know I wanted, but when I saw it, I was like, I need that. That was great. This movie, if you've not seen it, go see it. I'm not going to spoil it for you. The cinematography is great. The music, the action, everything. It's a satisfying conclusion to the James Bond films. Even if you're not a James Bond fan, I think this movie would still work a lot for you. It's a great movie, and that's why this movie gets number 9. Taking the number 8 spot is a movie that I honestly don't think really many people saw, and I don't think enough people did see. The Pig, starring Nicolas Cage. Now, this movie, you hear the lead actor, and he's kind of become almost a meme nowadays, more than like an actual movie star like he used to be. But people forget, Nicolas Cage is an Oscar award-winning actor, and you hear the name The Pig, and you really don't think that this is a movie that'd be great. But in my opinion, it's one of the most underrated films that came out this year. It's really a good story and a character study, and it just kind of seems like it came out, but it never got any attention. And the only reason I knew about this was because I was on the IMDb page for what was out, and I saw it, and I was like, that looks unique. I should check this out. And I'm trying not to spoil anything in this movie because there are some elements which I think can be spoiled. In this movie, I think that you should go watch and check out. It's probably all over the place now. It came out quite a while ago. This movie was an excellent film. Excellent acting, beautiful cinematography, and a wonderful, ingenious script. The direction was wonderful. This movie should have gotten more attention, and I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping maybe a lot of people will click on this video and maybe YouTube will recommend it to more people, and they'll see this and be like, okay, fine, we'll go check it out. And this movie will get the attention that it finally deserves because this movie is an underrated gem that we had this year, which more people definitely need to experience. In 7th place is Spencer, which, by the way, if I have not mentioned Oscar nominations that I would like to see, this movie needs some Oscar nominations. West Side Story needs some. No Time to Die, I would love to get an Oscar nomination for Best Song, but Spencer, I want to see Kristen Stewart nominated for Best Actress for this movie. There's also a ton of other awards I'd love to see this movie nominated for, but the thing I love about this movie is it is not the movie audiences were expecting to get, not necessarily the movie they wanted to get, but it is told well. It's a different perspective on the royals, Diana, and their relationship than we usually get. It's bold, it takes chances, and it makes a statement, and it really does take this entire dynamic in a new direction. This movie genuinely had me afterwards thinking about the royals in a different light, and it is conveyed so well. The performances, mainly Kristen Stewart's, are phenomenal. You genuinely feel like you're in that era, which is something that I said in my West Side Story review, was that movie felt like you're in the era. I feel like I'm in the era here. It is well crafted, the script is ingenious, and it really hits you on an emotional level and makes you see things in a different light and from different perspectives, and seeing how there's not always just the story of Diana we hear from one side or the other side where she's horrible or she's great. There's a lot to this story, and there's a lot that these people experience and go through. And this movie was phenomenal. It blew me away. Excellent film, and a must-watch for everyone, and that's why I think this movie should be in the top 10 movies of this year. 6th place, Last Night in Soho. This movie is just one of those movies that's such a unique idea and such a great vision that was carried out in the most perfect way you possibly could. Everything about this movie, the kind of detective noir aspects, the way you get transported back and forth between eras, the horror, the discomfort, the ominous feelings, it's perfect. The movie is just crafted to perfection. And if there's one movie this year that just looks like eye candy on the screen, it's this movie. It really did everything better, actually, than I even anticipated. I saw the movie, and honestly, the only reason I kind of heard about it was my friend, who's a massive James Bond fan. He was like, Rodney, there's this movie that's come out, and it's got Thunderball in the trailer. And I was like, Thunderball in the trailer? And I thought he meant like literal movie, but I didn't know it was just a poster. And I saw a trailer because I was watching for that, and I saw the trailer. I was like, that movie actually looks awesome, and I want to see that. And I saw it, and I was blown away. Fantastic film, great performances, great story. There are some twists in here that I can't tell you because you just have to check out your own. But just know, this movie was awesome, fantastic, totally deserves to be in the top 10 movies. Coming in my 5th place, Encanto. This movie is just exactly what I needed. There were a lot of Disney movies that came out this year, and I was kind of contemplating all of them and thinking them all through my brain, how I felt about them. But this movie just hit just the right note for me. The whole Colombian culture was beautiful. The Spanish in it was beautiful. The songs are wonderful. Has some of my favorite characters now in Disney that this movie's come out. These are some of my favorite characters, actually. It's such a neat little idea. It's gorgeous to look at. And it's got this natural charm and that good Disney family feel, which I feel is lacking from a lot of Disney movies now. Quite often, like, I loved Raya and the Last Dragon. But I do feel that's a film more or less for someone ages 14 up or 13 up. This movie, I feel more like anyone could sit down and enjoy this movie because it's that kind of film. And it has a general sense of awe and amazement to it. It's phenomenal. Is it like the best Disney movie ever? No. Is it great though in its own right? Of course it is. It's wonderful. Also, the characters in this movie are some of the funniest and some of the most touching and natural characters I've ever seen. The music was beautiful. Once again, the animation, what can I say? Blown away by it. Great job, Disney. Kudos to you guys. And it's absolutely a phenomenal watch. Number 4, a movie that didn't do well at the box office, which makes me sad. The Last Duel. This movie needs, again, some Oscar nominations, and it needs more attention. And I'm really hoping this doesn't discourage Hollywood from making these kinds of movies again. Because this movie makes some really ingenious choices. For one, it takes this one incident, this crime committed by Adam Driver, and tells it from so many different perspectives, and you get to see it from different perspectives, but each time something's a little different, and you can see how each person perceives that event differently. Once again, this movie comes from Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. They've written excellent films before, and once again, they kill it here. Director Ridley Scott makes it look fantastic. The performances in this movie are amazing. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Adam Driver, everyone killing it in this movie. This movie had a great sense of depth and also of conviction, and really conveying to you how futile these duels really were, and how it has nothing to actually do with them fighting for the girl. It's more them fighting for their own pride. And it's such a really good statement and testament that I think was perfectly written, perfectly shown, perfectly encapsulated. And I think that this movie deserves better than it's currently getting. Third place is the movie that shouldn't have happened, I didn't think was going to happen, but I wish happened and did happen. Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut. This movie is a superhero epic. It is long, it takes its time at its craft, and it tries to establish everything and proves once and for all that if a studio interferes with your project, it probably will suck more than if the studio was like, hands off, do your own thing. Now, also, of course, Zack Snyder probably had time to look at what Joss Whedon did wrong, and maybe some of these were his own ideas, and was like, guys, let's change that. People didn't like that. But nevertheless, this beautiful 4-hour-long movie, which takes time to set up, pay off, give characters. Cyborg actually has a character in this movie. Aquaman's there for more reasons than just say, my man. Flash is not there just to crack jokes. Batman's not there just to say weird Joss Whedon dialogue in a voice like this. Superman's not sitting there with a weird fake mustache that, that's been erased. And Gal Gadot's there to actually serve purpose. Everyone in here is here for a reason. And Darkseid's in the movie, which is great. And Steppenwolf was improved. And everything in the movie literally is improved. Everything is a massive step up. And it's like the greatest, epicest DC movie I think that we have had yet. Is it my favorite DC movie? No. But it is by far the grandest of scale and mass and scope. And it was just so wonderful to see this movie finally come to screen, see Zack Snyder's vision finally realized. And it's something that just is mind-boggling. This year we've seen some really crazy stuff happen in Hollywood, and this is one of them. And I'm happy that I saw this, though. It is an amazing superhero film, and it delivers everywhere it promised it would. Number 2 on this list is another movie that, to me, is crazy exists. Spiderman Way Home. The ultimate fan fiction film, essentially, for anybody who likes Spider-Man, because you have Spider-Man by Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. So, it's awesome, and all these villains from all these different universes coming together, and the multiverse becoming something so very interesting, and it feeling like a satisfying conclusion, a mature conclusion to this Spider-Man trilogy within the MCU. The MCU also seeming like it's getting itself back on track, kind of just getting back into those epic films that they used to make. Because their films this year that came out, I wasn't too hot on. Eternals was okay. Shang-Chi was good. Wasn't perfect, though. I did have a few problems with the movie. Black Widow, not necessarily as bad as everyone's making out to be, but not a perfect film. This film was awesome. I loved this movie. You can check out my review for my full thoughts on it. Just know that I think this movie hit all the right beats exactly where it needed to. Satisfied in a fan servicey way while also standing on its own. And it's a movie that should not exist realistically, but I'm so glad it does. And taking in my number 1 spot, and another movie I want to see represented and awarded at the Oscars, is Dune. This movie lived up to the hype, the expectations, and the hopes that I had for it. This movie was fantastic, amazing, and it felt like you were actually in a real world. I felt like I was actually transported to a place that's tangible, that exists, and that's real. It's just that kind of movie. It really finds a way to seem like it exists. Compared to the original Dune movie, which was less than impressive, this movie is beyond impressive. The scope of it, the fact that they could put so much in this movie and still make it cohesive is amazing. This movie is also filmed to perfection. They filmed the daylights out of this movie. The cinematography is wonderful. The choreography is great. The battles are great. The characters, the script, the direction, everything in this movie is exactly what I wanted. And then turn up plus 100 more. It's the movie that I was hoping we would get this year. That one movie that seems like it redefines everything. And again, the director of this movie, the guy who made Blade Runner 2049, I love his work. He's so good at these kinds of movies. And this movie's supposed to have a sequel. And I'm all in for that because this movie was, in my opinion, perfection, perfect from beginning to end. All the actors in it were great. Of course, they had so many big names attached to this thing. And they all, even if they're just serving a small role, come in and pull it off. It's an amazing film. It's a great film, in my opinion. It's the best film of all of 2021. So, please tell me your thoughts down in the comments. What were some of your favorite movies? Were there some movies in this list that I praised that you think were bad? If so, tell me why. Were there movies I praised here that you loved? Let me know in the comments once again. There are a lot of movies in this list that I couldn't fit on that I really, really liked. So, let me know in the comments, say, hey, did you like this movie? I'd love to have a conversation about it. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the new year.